Lately, I've been laying on my bed a lot, just thinking about things, thinking about this whole situation, and and how the pandemic has really separated us. Um, and I remember watching this AMV, um, this 5 centimeters per second AMV, and it just resonating so much with me now, more than it ever did. I think what this movie does, and I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. It's not some crazy movie. It's very simple and it's very straightforward. But I think what's really special about it is that it's so honest, it's so real, and I think that's why it hurts so much to watch it again now that I'm older. Because when I first watched this movie, it was in between my transition to grade 5 to 6, which was when I moved schools. And all the people that I met from the beginning of pretty much as long as I can remember, all those people were suddenly gone. And it's this idea that these people come and go out of your life every single day. And I didn't really understand how much that affected me growing up. And there's so much anxiety that was built off of it because, I'm just a kid, My brother and sister, I used to go to school with them, and now they're in high school, and I'm kind of left alone. There's a 3-year difference between them and I, it felt very lonely at the time, very isolating, and all my friends were gone, and I had to meet new people, and that was the first time I watched 5 centimeters per second. It was in between that transition, and so I knew a little bit. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it didn't process as much as it would right now because I'm a lot older and a lot more introspective. But I think that's probably why it resonated with me so much. And it's so hard to watch because, look, these characters are not the most nuanced. It's not some crazy, not like a silent voice where there's a lot of intricacies with the characters and how they feel and what they're thinking. But it's still very heart-wrenching to watch these people, and overall it seems like very good-natured people to go through something like this, and the idea of how much distance can put stress on a relationship, and not being able to see them and not being able to talk to them, and it's a very hard thing to look at. And at first I thought, and with the rundown of the story, it's just about two people who love each other, just slowly growing apart, and it's hard to watch because the same thing kind of happened to me, because I remember having this super close friend back in elementary school, and me going to his house every morning. I'm going to on the same bus every day, talking to them, laughing, enjoying ourselves, going to each other's houses. And one day he tells me he's moving away, and I think that was kind of the point where I realized how difficult it was. Even though I knew how difficult it was, I didn't know how much it would affect me and how much our relationship would be affected by that move. And I tried to maintain the relationship, tried talking to them as much as I could, and it just so happens that he met new people, I met new people, and things didn't go our way. But I think there's a part of me that still wanted to keep that relationship and to be able to see them more often. But he kind of chose to hang out with his friends a lot more, and I kind of stayed introverted, just as how I've always was. He was so extroverted and outgoing, and for me, I wasn't. And part of me, I think, thinks that he just didn't care as much as I did, And I think that's hard. It's hard because I really cared for him, and I feel like he betrayed me, but I know that's not the case. And I think 5 centimeters per second does this really well, because our heroine, she chooses to move on and live her life, and our main character doesn't. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand that, why she or how she could move on. But I realized, like, important relationships are the ones that are right in front of you, the ones that you can grasp onto and hold on to, and clinging onto the past and not living in the present is I just don't think it's right. And I think there's some strength in that. And now I kind of understand it because I'm older, but there is so much strength in her, specifically as a character, because she chooses that and lives a happy life. And she still has the letters from the past, but she holds on to it fondly and cares for them still. But it's still in the past. It's not something that you could cling on to forever. And that's where our main character kind of gets to at the very end of the movie, and it's a special feeling, the idea that you can still think about those memories fondly but still live your life in a way that doesn't negatively affect you but makes you a stronger person. And God, I hate that train. I just hate that train. It's top 10 villains of all time, I swear. But there's so much meaning in that separation. That train means, like, the distance, the separation from them. And it's very beautifully put. And the person who wrote 5 centimeters per second writes about that all the time. And I don't really see it in other movies or in other media or art, that how much it could affect people, and it does it so well, at, like, staring up at the sky and thinking maybe they're staring up at the same sky that I am right now. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder how they're feeling. I wonder if they're happy. I hope they're happy. And it gets that point across so well, because I think we all, in our own way, want those people that were in our lives for a brief period of time to be content and to not be sad, because I wouldn't want them to be sad, and I hope they think the same way about me. It's a weird feeling. And I've been, laying on my bed just thinking about that. It's hard to say. And the people come and go, and the distance we have with each other it's incredibly heartbreaking, honestly. That's why when I watch the end of that film, it just feels hopeless, but yet hopeful. I think that's why that bittersweet feeling is so strong in this anime. It's really something special. And Your Name does it well too, and it talks about other things like fate and the one. But I think 5 centimeters per second does the real and honest part so well. And as I grow older, it's just so much more apparent to me that what he made here was something completely different, something that no one probably will ever do again. And yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's weird how much this affected me, and how much more it affected me later in my life. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's a weird thing.